Why Italians avoided tomatoes for centuries. Tomatoes were brought from America by the Spanish, but Italians had zero interest in this new fruit. In fact, they didn't even know it was a fruit. Some daring souls tried munching on the leaves. They declared the tomato poisonous. The tomato belongs to the nightshade family. In large quantities, its leaves can indeed be poisonous, but there's no record of anyone in Italy actually being poisoned. Moreover, Italians were quick to adopt peppers and eggplants. These American vegetables belong to the same family, but the tomato for some reason remained unwanted. It wasn't until the early 1600s that tomatoes started to be eaten. The practice began in Andalusia, Spain. In Italy, the first intrepid consumers were the wealthy. The tomato was an exotic curiosity for gourmets. However, the majority still shunned them. Oddly enough, it had to do with the Renaissance. That era was all about rediscovering the classics. The embrace of antiquity wasn't limited to art. Ancient literature, science, and medicine also became popular. That's how Italians rediscovered Galen of Pergamon. Galen was one of the leading physicians in ancient Rome. He rose to become Marcus Aurelius' personal doctor. 1400 years later, his works suddenly gained a new life. Galen wrote books on pharmacology, anatomy, and other things. He also promoted Hippocrates' theory of humorism. This pseudo-scientific concept was deceptively simple. Hippocrates believed the human body had substances called humors. They influenced our health and behavior. These humors were affected by what we ate. Galen developed a health classification of foods. Broadly speaking, all foods could be hot, cold, wet, or dry. A hot-tempered person would be prescribed cold foods. A cold would be treated with hot and dry foods. Some foods were best avoided altogether. Obviously, Galen had no idea tomatoes existed, but Renaissance physicians took up his work. They assigned Galenic classifications to all New World vegetables. Tomatoes were judged cold and wet. This made them dangerous and harmful. A botanist wrote that the tomato possessed perhaps the highest degree of coldness. It was thought to hinder digestion. The strong smell of tomato leaves likewise revolted Europeans. Flemish herbalist Matthias de Labelle wrote in 1581,
"The strong stinking smell gives one sufficient notice how unhealthful and evil they are to eat."
Giovanni Domenico Sala, a physician from Padua, wrote in 1628,
"Tomatoes are strange and horrible things that only a few unwise people eat."
Of course, tomatoes were different. In the 1600s, Italian tomatoes of the time were a lot more acidic. They were mostly yellow, not red. The Aztecs themselves preferred tomatillas. They rarely ate tomatoes on their own, generally seasoning them with spices. The Italian word for tomato is pomodoro. Originally spelled pomodoro, it means golden apple. The golden part referred to its color, not its perceived value. Even when tomatoes were eaten, they were considered low food. They grow too close to the ground. Aristocratic fruits were supposed to grow on trees. In Florence, the tomato was used solely as a tabletop decoration. It was incorporated into the local cuisine in the late 17th or early 18th century.